When you're in a power wheelchair, the most important thing is that you can drive it. It's great that we live in 2023 and that technology is innovating every day. That's great for everyone, but especially for people who rely entirely on technology to get around in the first place. Fortunately, there's a very wide range of options available to get that chair into action, by you. The most common option is the standard joystick installed on the power chair, without any special controls. It works for many people, but there are also many people for whom the standard joystick doesn't work well enough. It may be much too heavy or too easy to move the standard joystick, making it much too energy-intensive, impossible or dangerous to drive with the standard joystick that came with the wheelchair. It may also be that the joystick isn't mounted in the correct position for you, because other parts of your body function better than the part where the wheelchair joystick is currently mounted. Maybe your leg or head control is better than your hands or fingers control, or maybe you aren't able to control your chair all day on your own and you need someone who can control your chair as well. Today I'm sharing with you how I control my chair. I have to admit I never really think about how I control my chair, I roll on autopilot. I think that is very positive, because for me it means that how I drive with my chair works very well for me. For this review I've made an exception and have given some conscious thought to how I drive my wheelchair, and hopefully that will give a useful idea of my experience. I drive with my fingers, well, my thumb, with one of the lightest joysticks on the market. At the moment that I had to switch from a standard joystick to a lighter joystick, there weren't many options on the market. That's why I went from my standard wheelchair joystick to the smallest and lightest joystick. It was a huge difference, so it was really challenging to get used to. There are now many options that could have worked perfectly for me at the time, but they just didn't exist. Now I'm used to this type of joystick and it works very well for me. The manufacturer of the joystick that I use is Movies from Belgium, who started in 2013. Their goal is to believe in the power of innovation, which they deliver in collaboration with various stakeholders. They work with a worldwide network of dealers, so chances are you can use their products or you may already be using their products, without realizing it, if your chair is newer than 2013. Movies makes assistive devices such as wheelchair joysticks, also for gaming, input control systems such as switches, wheelchair accessories, which I'll tell you more about soon, and mounting systems. In my opinion, they develop products with a subtle design, which doesn't catch the eye, which I really appreciate. You stand out enough in a wheelchair, but being in the spotlight, if you haven't noticed, isn't my thing. As I mentioned at the beginning of my story, I use a very light to activate joystick called the micro joystick. I've been using these types of very light joysticks for many years, maybe already 13 or 14 years. That was indeed not the Movies micro joystick all those years. The micro joystick has similarities with the mini joystick, which is probably known to more people and which I still use on my power chair that I play hockey with. In line with the goal of Movies who believe in the power of innovation, I'm definitely experiencing some very useful improvements with the micro joystick. First of all, and a very useful innovation for most people using these types of highly sensitive joysticks, the micro joystick requires less force to be operated and the range required to move the joystick is 3.3 millimeters. The mini joystick, the older one with the cork ball on it, requires an actuation force of 10 grams, but the Movies micro joystick only requires 8 grams. That's the weight of a single grape. There's also a new modified version of the micro joystick that only requires 5 grams, which is the weight of 1 raspberry or 2 blueberries. The difference between 8 and 5 grams may not sound like a big difference, but I've compared them myself and I can assure you it's a very big difference. Well, the difference is so great that the 5-gram version even needs a little extra attention when mounting the joystick, to prevent gravity from taking control of your wheelchair. I've been using the 8-gram micro joystick for about 4 years now and I really appreciate that the handle of the joystick is much more stable than the cork ball of the mini joystick. It's not just the black ball-shaped handle that no longer rotates on the joystick, but it's also the curved joystick part that the handle is installed on that can no longer rotate 360 degrees. I find this to be seriously helpful for keeping your finger in place without slipping off the joystick and losing control of the wheelchair. The micro joystick comes with 2 handles, a finger-shaped cup and the little black ball I use, but you can operate it without a handle if you prefer. This joystick can be operated with one of your fingers, your chin, your tongue, or even your lips. It can be mounted in a table, as in my case, on your armrest, or within reach of your face. Whatever works best for you. Of course, since we are all individuals, not everyone can be helped with the same kind of joystick I use. Therefore, here is a brief overview of the joystick collection that Movies has developed to control your wheelchair. The micro joystick is the joystick I told you about in this video, and there are two versions. Both have a 3.3 mm travel range, but one requires 8 grams of force and the other 5 grams. The multi-joystick is a slightly more compact version of the standard wheelchair joysticks on the market. This one has an 8 mm travel range and only needs 50 grams to get you rollin'. That's half a kiwi. Of course the fruit and not the animal, that would be harsh. The all-round joystick is most comparable to the standard joystick you receive when ordering a wheelchair without special control options. This one requires 250 grams of force, which is slightly more than the weight of a grapefruit and has a 20 mm travel range. An all-round joystick light is also available, and to the eye they look the same, but the light version only requires 120 grams of force, which is the weight of a medium-sized apple. It has only a 7 mm travel range, so light it is. The heavy-duty joystick is a very durable joystick for people with excessive force such as spasticity or something similar. This joystick requires the weight of a coconut that's just fallen from the tree to get into action, that's 650 grams of force, and has a travel range of 40 mm. The scoot control feels like, yes, driving a scooter. It can be mounted on the back of your wheelchair for an attendant or to the front of your wheelchair, so within your reach, if you prefer that kind of fancy Vespa control over a joystick. The foot control allows you to operate your wheelchair with your feet, if it works better for you to operate your wheelchair with your legs than with your hands or arms. This foot control could work for people with ALS or cerebral palsy, and I've also tried it myself. Yes, everyone is still alive. The foot control will be released soon. Do you think another joystick could be useful for you? Check out the Movies website, you can find the link in the notes below. There you will find more information about their dealer network and therefore information about where you can get their products. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to message me or Movies.